On Tuesday, I received a phone call from the National Catholic Register, and the reporter was calling from Colorado, and he was asking how we were at our parish here in Prescott right after the Prescott 19 had lost their lives. And I said, you have no idea what we've gone through here at this parish in the last 2 weeks. And I proceeded to tell him about the Dulce fire, Father Darrin, and then this. And then I told him, again, also a very good friend of mine's dad died all on the same day, within 24 hours of Father Darrin. And so I was telling him, and oh, by the way, I became pastor in 3 seconds. And he's like, how are you handling this? I go, I really don't know. And, amongst all this tragedy and all this bad stuff that's been happening here in Prescott, especially in our parish, believe it or not, I still haven't lost that hope. I don't despair. There's a lot that is going on. And that's one thing we need to do as a community here at Sacred Heart, is to accept the reality of tragedy. Not to embrace it and say we love it, but to accept the reality that what we have had happen here is not good. But what has been good, and by my experience for the last 2.5 weeks, is the response of you people. Father Darrin, whatever you need, just let me know. I have not seen so much unity in Prescott in a long time. And that says a lot about our parish. Our response to this has to be rooted in the one dogma and the one teaching that Jesus talks about in the very last sentence of the gospel. That is, that our name is written in the book of life, that we're part of God's family. The resurrection is my hope. So, as I was talking to the reporter, he's like, so what is the message you're telling the people? I said, well, I haven't talked to them since the 19 had fallen, because I was on my way here. I was in California. And I said, tragedy does not define me. It's how I respond to tragedy. The message of hope that seems to get lost sometimes amidst all this cannot be lost. Every single person in this church knows somebody personally or a friend of theirs that has died instantaneously. One moment alive, next moment not here. It was December 1st, 1976. I was 11 years old. My mom came home and told me, your father has just died. Now, I can't tell you, as an 11-year-old boy, my brother being 10, how I processed all that. My dad was a sick man. But I knew one thing. He wasn't suffering any longer. And the longer I've been a priest, the more I've done funerals, and the more I look at death and life, baptisms and weddings and funerals, the more I realize that I really have to rely on the teaching on the resurrection. That I know that I'll be reunited with my father, my grandparents, my godfather, my aunts and uncles, my friends who've died. This tragedy that we had with the 19, we have to remember that they will be reunited with their family at the resurrection. I'm very sad right now. I've been in tears the whole week. I can't even talk about it. It's a grace that I can even talk about it right now. But more importantly, I have not lost hope. Jesus is the reason why I am not despairing right now. And if it wasn't for you and your prayers and the people's response, yeah, I might have despaired, but you've been so good in responding. Now, you'll hear it in the announcement, but on Thursday we'll be having a memorial mass for the 19. Now, I just found out yesterday that one of them was going to Mass here, John Person. And then I found out after one of the Masses at 10:45, we have another one. I think it's Jim McKee, 2 parishioners. And so it's only appropriate that we as Catholic Christians honor these heroes. All firefighters, police officers, military, they're all heroes. That's a given. But I do expect this church to be packed to honor those who died protecting somebody's homes, their lives. I just talked to the father, to John Person. I'm surprised he can even talk on the phone. He seems relatively upbeat. And he's just thanking us for all the support we here at Prescott and our parish is willing to give him. So I told him whatever he needs, our parish is there for him. But as a church, the good that comes out of a tragedy is our response as a community. Because as we come together and act more Christ-like, you don't realize that Prescott is now an internationally known city forever. We're no longer this city hidden in the hills in Arizona that maybe 4 or 5 people in California know about. Poland, you saw the Daily Courier, did a tribute to the fire. Poland, halfway across the world. I guarantee you, everybody in the world knows about our city now. That means as a church and as a community, we have to step up our spiritual game. That means we're praying together more. That means we're working together more. Because now we can't just hide in the hills. People look to us as an example of how we responded to these tragedies. So I'm not worried about our response. I know that you will step up and that we will look like the Christians we're supposed to be, to bring the light of Christ and joy and hope to those who are really sorrowful right now. Just before Mass, I was lucky. I was able to go down on Montezuma, which is Whiskey Row, and I was able to videotape the 19 come by. And that was an intense sight. But I knew that each one of those boys and men were in good hands. They did something very noble. They are an example for us. Because as a priest, I get it. There's a lot of priests. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard in the last 2 years of priests being kidnapped and killed in the countries throughout the world. Priests are losing their lives today. So I get the idea of a sacrifice, of losing life for a greater cause. So it hurts and it hits home really well when I see somebody lose their life in service for their country or we're trying to save people's lives. But we support and pray for those families and say, you know what? Here at Sacred Heart, we are here to support you as a family. So we decided that when things calm down, we're going to put a memorial next to the unborn for those 19 because they deserve that. And I just ask that as a community, we come together. You say, Father, what can I do for you? We went from 5 priests to 2. So the only time you're going to see me is walking somewhere else. So you have to realize that everybody has to really step up and really bring this together and to be an example for all of Prescott. Because I think our response is necessary for the community. We need to support those 19 families. So whatever we do, whatever we ask of you, please just say, Father, yes, let's do it. Because this has changed our city forever. We're no longer Sacred Heart of Prescott. We're Sacred Heart of Prescott, Arizona. That's where the 19 came from. Every firefighter in the world knows about this place. Every person in the world knows about our city. And we're the church on the hill to be that light in this world. With a lot of responsibility, it means we all have to accept it and embrace it. I don't like tragedy, but I'm not going to run away from it either. If it comes, it comes. We respond to it as good Catholic Christians as we are. So I thank you for your support. I thank you for your prayers. And I know that you will respond greatly. Thank you very much.